In this video, we're going to talk about what I consider to be the best all-round prime lens from Fujifilm. 23mm f1.4, it's the new one. I think it launched in 2021, was it? Maybe? Feel free to correct me down in the comments, but that's what we're going to focus on today. I'll show you with examples what I've used it for, what I use it for, so you can judge for yourself. It's a bit on the higher end of the scale, meaning it costs a bit more, and I'll give you a few great alternatives to this lens as well at the end of the video, so definitely stay tuned, stick around for that. Let's get right into it. I'm not a huge techie guy, but this is fairly small at 370 grams. It has a great build quality. Nothing bad to say about this lens. It's a 35mm equivalent on a full frame, and it's significantly smaller than a full frame 35mm lens. It's very fast at f1.4, meaning you can get a nice blurry background. Let's say if you do portraits and you get a little bit close, you have this nice background. It's also weather sealed, so it will give you peace of mind when you're out shooting, let's say in a snowstorm or in the rain or something like that. The uses of this lens. This basically lives on my Fujifilm X-T5, that's its home, and I do this for street photography and everyday photography. It is, in my opinion, the best focal length for street photography, and you can use it for so many things. It's also great for night street photography since it is fast, meaning you can have a faster shutter speed when you stop it all the way down to f1.4, so you can still get usable results. And it can be used for vlogging as well. I think it's stretching it a little bit because it is narrower than my go-to focal length for vlogging, which would be 13 or 16, but it can definitely be used for that as well. For talking head videos like I do here in my studio, I would have no problems. I would actually prefer using the 23mm f1.4 because you have that nice blurry background as well when I film for this video, and it looks fantastic. So there you see, it has many uses, and I hope this gives you some ideas for this little lens right here. Now, let's talk about pros and cons, starting with, of course, the pros, and that is it is a light and solid build. Yes, I think it is. And it has very sharp images, or produces very sharp images, and has great image quality, as you would expect from a higher end lens like this one. 23mm or 35mm equivalent can be used for most things. And the autofocus is super fast. I have never had any problems with it. It hunts a little bit in the dark, but that goes for any lens. And I've tried Sigma lenses before, and those hunt even more. So native lenses, they generally have a good autofocus. This one in particular, very good. All right, the cons of this lens. It is on the expensive side, and I can't really think of any more cons other than it is expensive. So let's talk about who this lens is for. And I would say first and foremost, that's where I come from anyway, street photography. I use it not every day, but every week, at least a few times per week, where I stick it on the X-T5, go out and enjoy my street photography. And it's also fantastic for documentary photographers. This is a perfect focal length, and travel photography as well. It's the prime lens I would go for, or my go-to prime lens for the Fuji system. That's the lens I would get if I already had like a mid-range zoom or something like that. And you can also use it for portraits, like in an urban environment. I think it's a little bit too wide for portraits in, let's say, a studio or something like that, but for environmental portraits or urban portraiture, also very, very good. If you're on a budget, you have some great options, and I will recommend the Sigma model first. I think it's half the price, and it is lighter. It feels a little bit more plasticky. I have tried the Sigma version of this, but it's good. If you can't afford anything else, that's a great starting point, so you can get to know the focal length and get the feel of it. Viltrox also has launched a new lineup with a very cool red red colored glass or red colored lens. It's a limited edition, I think, and I don't care too much about that because I have this one, but that could be something to check out. I have very good experience with Viltrox lenses. I'm actually filming on a Viltrox lens right here. They do the autofocusing very well, so I wouldn't have any problems with that, and they also cost, I think it's half the price. Both the Viltrox and the Sigma lenses, they are way cheaper, and I'll link to everything down in the description if you want to figure things out and do some research, and maybe you want to get a lower budget option. Closing thoughts about this very nice lens right here, and that would be, if I could choose only one prime lens for my Fuji system, this 23mm f1.4, boys and girls, would be it. No doubt about it, any day of the week. It pairs perfectly with the 16-55. I made a video about that as well. You can check that up, I think here somewhere. I'll link to that one also in the description. It is a bit on the expensive side, but if you can afford it, always go for the premium option. If not, do you have some nice, more affordable options as well that I will link to below, from Sigma, Viltrox, and I think even Tokina. I have never tried Tokina, but I've heard good things about them. So if you like this video, you might watch this one after, and I hope you enjoy my content. If you do, please do subscribe and like this video. Also hit that notification bell so you will get notified when I have new videos here on the channel. And then I shall say bye bye. Thank you so much for watching.